Go ahead. Take it away, Vivian. Welcome.
Thank you, Jason. I'm so happy to be here with you all and share the practice. So without further ado, I thought what we would do is really go through that 3-point check-in. And I share that 3-point check-in because it's something you can do in your daily life as you go about your workday. You wouldn't have to do it as long as we did. You would just or what we are going to do, you just check in very quickly into what's the state of my mind right now, what's the state of my feelings right now, what's the state of my body right now, and hopefully that gives you some information that you can act on in the moment, whether it's about what, sometimes, for example, you might be hungry and it might affect your mood. So when you take that opportunity to just step back and just really assess what's going on, you can get some information that's actionable, hopefully. Or if you realize you're emotionally amped up, maybe going for a very quick walk or up and down stairs might be helpful. So that's what that 3-point check-in is about. We're going to do it slower in this practice period. We'll give it like maybe 2-3 minutes of our practice time, but know that you can do it in just a matter of seconds, just checking in with yourself over the course of the day. And then we're going to move into a traditional, what we consider to be, what if you have heard of mindfulness, a more traditional practice of noting our breathing and the breath, and where we're sensing it today. And then if we have time, I will shift it into a loving kindness practice. And we can kind of practice a little bit with cultivating some positive emotions before we move into the rest of the workday. So with that, I invite you to stretch up and settle into your seat, or stretch out if you're reclined. And take a couple of deep but comfortable breaths here, in through the nose. And if it feels okay, to exhale with a sigh through the mouth. So inhaling through the nose. An extended sigh. Let's do that a couple of times until you feel like you're here, you've arrived. And once that happens, just letting that breath go to its natural rhythm. You know that you can do this practice with your eyes open or closed. So if it's open, you can experiment with it. If it's open, see if you're experiencing any sort of mind wandering or distractions, more so than if your eyes are closed. So experience with your eyes closed, because sometimes it's when we close our eyes where all the mental images come through our mind. But sometimes it's when our eyes are open, and it can vary day to day, moment to moment. So know that you can do either one. If your eyes are open, just keeping a very soft gaze, not really concentrating or moving the eyes too much. And we'll begin with that 3-point practice. So we always start by noting the quality of the mind that we're experiencing right now. And that is, sort of mind am I actually working with? So is it alert, or is it foggy? Maybe something in between. Is it curious? Is it at ease? Is it jumping from thought to thought? Is it staying with each of these prompts that I'm sharing, wondering what's going to come next? So note just the general sensation of the mind. It might be as a broad stroke as, hey, my mind feels pleasant right now, or my mind feels unpleasant, or it feels pretty neutral right now. What's the state of my mind? And these silent pauses, breaks that I'm going to take is to allow you the opportunity to take in what I said, process it in your mind, and practice with it for a bit to see what happens. So the mind might stay with the prompt that I gave and explore that, or the mind might just hear what I said and then jump to its own agenda where it wants to go. And the practice of mindfulness isn't about staying with whatever it is that's happening. That's the aspiration. But actually, a successful period of practice is one where you can, however many times the mind wanders, bring it back to the thing that you want it to focus on. So not worrying when the mind goes in all different directions. That's what it does. That's why we call it practice. Coming into the heart or your chest area, just bringing that attention down into your heart, where oftentimes that's where we experience our emotions, at least initially. Beginning to take note of any and all feelings that may be here right now. I'm happy, sad, neutral, excited, irritated, cheerful, joyful, confused. These are just some possibilities, but as you know, there are such a range of emotions out there. See if you can just settle enough to notice which ones are here right now. And sometimes there's a combination of emotions. Sometimes it might be so mixed up that we can't necessarily pinpoint the emotion, but our instinct tells us I'm feeling a particular sensation and it's because I'm feeling a feeling right now. So if that's the case, it's just as good to go into and explore that physical sensation that you know is linked to an emotion that maybe you're not able to directly identify. So that's okay too. What's the state of my emotions right now? Now we're going to take note of the state of our body. And we'll start by giving our attention to the toes and the feet. And we'll scan the body upward, both on what's going on the inside of the body, what's going on the surface of the body. Starting at the feet and noting any areas of tension or pain or pleasant sensation. Maybe you're noting temperature or pressure from shoes or clothing, points of contact. So pressure. Maybe there are areas where there are no sensations at all. Maybe they feel very blank or void. Note those too. Note any areas that are pretty neutral. If it helps to gently wiggle your toes and flex and relax the feet, you can do that. And then settle into noticing what are the sensations there. Now continuing to scan up the shins and calves. Does anything call your attention in and around on the inside, on the outside of the lower leg? You notice any tension and it doesn't feel like that's what you want to experience right now. See if you can bring some softness to the calves. Let them hang heavy. Bringing that same beautiful attention up into your upper leg, your thighs. Noting temperature, pressure, any physical sensations, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Now giving that same attention, letting it move up through your sitting bones into your lower back, your middle back, your upper back. What's going on here? What sorts of sensations are here? On the surface, on the inside? Is there movement? Movement can feel like tickling, throbbing, vibration. Continuing to move that attention up the back, through the back of the neck, over the head and face. Since we take in so much of the world through the senses in this area, through our ears, our mouth and flavors, our nose and sense, and our eyes and vision. Notice any and all sensations you might be experiencing in and around the face. Is it relatively still? Are there subtle movements happening at the eyes, around the lips? Or maybe you're noticing the breath coming in and out of the nostrils. letting that attention move down the front of the neck, over the chest and the full part of the body. What's happening on the front of the body? You might be noticing quite a bit of movement in the rise and fall of the chest and the gentle movement in and out of the belly as you inhale and exhale. If you feel like you're holding any tension in the chest area or in the belly, feel free to take a couple more deep breaths and letting the exhale come out at its own speed with its own depth. Now, from here, we're going to shift the practice to noticing the breath. And if at any point this doesn't feel comfortable, you can always go back to any of the practices we've done or anything else that you feel would be most nourishing for you right now. If you'd like to continue with noting the breath, I just invite you to notice the breath where you feel it most strongly. And for most people, it's either at the nostrils, at the chest, or at the belly. These are just suggestions. You might feel it other places. So without changing the breath at all, we begin to apply our attention to the qualities of the breath. So for one way to notice the qualities, you can begin to notice that the inhale has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then there's a pause before it turns and becomes the out breath. And the out breath has a beginning, a middle, and an end, which then turns again to be an in breath. So if you actually take notice of that inhale, beginning, middle, end, and pause, and exhale, beginning, middle, end, and pause. That's basically like doing 8 mindfulness reps on your mind muscle. That's one way to note the quality of breathing. You might also notice the wider qualities of it being long or short, or you notice that your breath is shallow or deep, whether it's jagged or very smooth. If for any reason you find noticing the qualities of the breath difficult or challenging right now, just notice the sounds inside of you, such as the sound of your own breath or the sounds, however subtle, in and around you. You can listen for what's close or what's far away. We'll do this in silence for just about a minute, following the breath or following the sounds. So the mind may wander to a thought or a memory or looking into the future by planning. And that's what the mind is going to do because the mind knows how to breathe. It's not something novel or interesting to the mind. So staying really gentle with yourself and labeling it when the mind wanders to thinking, remembering, planning, and then gently bringing the focus of your awareness back to the foreground towards your breath, and then allowing anything and everything else that might be trying to crowd in, setting that in the background, much like if your mind was a stage. So, what would you set into the background? Those things that you don't want to center or have full awareness of. Now we're going to shift a little bit into a loving kindness practice. If it feels good to continue practicing with the breath, know that we're just taking this time to support each other. So you do what's most nourishing for you today. If you'd like to join in the loving kindness practice, I invite you to bring to mind someone you care about deeply and who is very easy to be around, where you don't have too complex of a relationship with. And so oftentimes it might not be human, might be a pet. So bring them into your mind's eye, see them as vividly as you can. You might even give them a smile to see if they react in your mind's eye. Do they smile back? But really try and feel their presence, in whatever way feels natural for you. And we're going to begin by sending them well wishes from our heart and from our thoughts, the depth of our mind. And I'm going to be putting them into words, but some of us are more visual, so you might see it as a color of light. And you can use the words that I'm offering. You can also put it into your own words. Actually, I encourage you to put it into your own words so that it lands more perfectly. So as you begin to look at this wonderful being in your life, you say to them, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. As we do each of these phrases, I invite you to feel into what it's like in your body to send this well-wishing intention to this lovely being. And you say to them, may you be healthy and strong. May you be happy and peaceful. And may you be serene and at ease. Taking a breath here, noting what it feels like to offer these good wishes. And knowing that this being loves and appreciates you as well, that all they want for you are those same things. Let's imagine that they're wishing those same things onto us. And they say to you, may you be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. What's it like to receive it instead of giving it? And they say to you, may you be healthy and strong. May you be happy and peaceful. May you be serene and at ease. So what's that like to be on the receiving end? How different is it? Was it to receive and to give? Not judging it at all, but learning about yourself. Was there any difference? And now let's experiment with offering it to ourselves using I statements. May I be safe and protected from inner and outer harm. May I be healthy and strong. May I be happy and peaceful. May I be serene and at ease. Noticing what that feels like. Taking a deep breath if you need to. As we bring this period of practice to a close, I invite you to stretch and take deep breaths. Whatever feels right for you right now, following that instinct. Giving yourself a bit of gratitude for taking this time for yourself. So thank you all for joining today's session. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful week.